What is up, Netrunners? Welcome to another episode of PeachHack from North Georgia Netrunners. It is January 4th, 2015, moving into round 3 of the Ravens Nest Store Championships in Marietta, Georgia. On the left, we have Cory, rocking the most swag-tastic playmat you ever did see, featuring the Wanton Destruction artwork. And he is playing as Industrial Genomics, brand new Genteki identity from the latest legal set in this tournament, The Source, where the trash cost of every card is increased by the number of face-down cards in archives. And on the right, we have John, who is running as Chaos Theory, has an extra MU to work with, as well as a lean and mean 40-card deck. And you'll notice John is sporting the brand new Chaos Theory alt art given to the top 32 people at this tournament. And since there's only 29 people at the tournament, everyone got one. If you want that alt art, all you got to do is go to a 2015 store championship in your area and get top 32, which probably won't be that hard if there's fewer than 32 people at the tournament. And don't be afraid to go if you're a new player. In fact, John on the right is a pretty new player himself, having only played for a couple months at this point. And we love having new players show up to game nights, teaching them the game. It's a lot of fun to bring new people into the hobby. So don't be afraid. Netrunner community is made up of a lot of cool people. Now, this will be, I guess, a little bit of a different cast just because we do have a new player at the table tonight. And they're piloting some pretty interesting decks, some new stuff, some stuff you might not have seen. So I'll be explaining things a little bit more in detail than I normally would, just for the sake of anybody new playing, and to explain some of the interesting interactions that go on in this matchup. But I believe these players are getting started here. I think John took a mulligan and drawing right back up. Cory pretty happy with his hands, and he's going to get started. First draw. And it looks like he drew a shock, which is exactly what you want to see as Industrial Genomics. You want to get those into archives. But we'll see what he does. He decides to draw Ice Up HQ and drawing in it. So Industrial Genomics, you want to be free to draw a lot because you want to dump cards in archives to make those things expensive to trash in the future. John decides, he forgot to get his money, his mandatory 5 credits to start off the game. Dieseling, first click, not a bad idea. Draw up. And Cory using the Team Covenant click trackers there. You see them, brand new, just came out. Also full of swag. And what is John doing here? He is installing something. Or playing something, maybe. It's a medium. R&D is wide open. Oh, baby. Gonna see some cards. And so the way medium works, you get, every time you run R&D, you get a virus token on it. And for every virus token over 1, you see an extra card. So he will access 1 card here. It's nothing interesting, but he does get a virus token on medium. So if he runs again, he will see 2 cards. So he runs again and sees the same thing, sees something else. And just making sure he understands how medium works. That is how medium works. Not interested in whatever he dumped into archives. We do know that he had at least 1 shock. But doesn't see anything in R&D, but he does know what's coming up now. Cory also rocking the broken egg tokens. Those are those kind of plastic slabs over his ID. But makes it nice and clear with all the different colors. What the numbers are, as long as you know which number corresponds with which color. Decides to draw up a bit more. I imagine he's going to want to install some assets here that'll give him some money, but locks up R&D. You don't want to let that medium abuse anymore. And yeah, he does make a new server. What is it going to be? If it's trashable, it should be probably trashable. Then its trash cost is increased by 2 for the 2 cards in archives. John deciding to draw up. Not quite seeing what he wants to see yet. And it's kind of scary face-checking against Jinteki Ice. They have some of the scariest sentries in the game. Don't want to take anything too big. Don't want to lose important programs or things from your hand. But if you got a handful of crap, then why not, you know? He decides to check out Archives. Wants to make things cheaper. And it's 2 shocks. 2 net damage. So shocks are pretty interesting because they activate out of Archives. You run into shocks and they will each do 1 net damage, even if they are in Archives and trashed. As opposed to the old standby Snare, who does not activate in Archives. So that will happen every time he runs Archives. It doesn't just happen once because they're face up now, because they were face down before. No, it happens every time. So now he knows, but I wonder what that thing is that is now normal cost of trash. And it is a mental health clinic. That goes in the trash. Cory's turn now. What is he going to do in response? Ooh, celebrity gift. We get to see what he's got. He has a biotic labor. Ooh, a Sundew, medical breakthrough, brain trust, and future perfect. Hand full of agendas, but also that biotic labor tells us quite a bit. Looks like he is probably going to go for some sort of fast advance Jinteki build, which is definitely different. I don't know if I've seen a fast advanced version of Industrial Genomics. A lot of times they try to kill you or just tax you to death. But we'll see how this works out for him. He's got a lot of agendas in his hand, and only 1 ice over HQ. Get some money. John is pretty broke at this point. He's only got those 2 credits. And Dirty Laundry on Archives. It'll get us some money. Oh, and he gets the medical breakthrough. And if the 2 shocks, of course. I don't think John realized at this point that the 2 shocks will fire again. But you know what? That is better than a fetal. If there was he accessed like a fetal or something out of R&D, then he would have taken 2 net damage for 2 points, as well as paid 2 credits for the privilege of stealing the agenda. So medical breakthrough for 2 net damage and no credits. I'll take it. I kind of fear that John is now deterred from ever running Archives again because he's afraid of those shocks. We'll see. You're going to have to kind of build up to a glory run. Putting an upgrade on R&D. Interesting. I really want to know what that is. And the Sundew. I don't know if the Sundew is the best play at this point because it is only $2 to trash. I mean, the point of Industrial Genomics is to dump a bunch of stuff in Archives and then make it expensive to trash. So a Sundew right here that someone can just run for free for the first click, I mean, it's basically throwing away 2 credits. And John can do it. He's got 2 credits. I think that's probably the right choice. I mean, yeah, it makes you completely broke. I don't know. It depends on what he's got in his hand. We'll see what he chooses to do. Mulling over that decision. Being broke is rough because you got to click back up. It's hard to get money from 0. He does decide to trash it, though. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think it was kind of perhaps a misplay on Cory's part. Or maybe Cory was just wanting him to lose too. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? We have a draw on some money from John finishing up the turn. And Cory drawing up some more, making a new server. It's a Jackson Howard. Our friend, Jesus Howard Christ. The thing about Jackson Howard Industrial Genomics is that he gives you incredible drawing power, which lets you flood yourself and then dump a bunch of stuff into Archives. So there's what? Did he just get rid of 3 cards? So now Howard is 6 to trash? When was the last time we trashed Howard? Was for 6. John takes some money, takes a card. Still not finding what he's looking for. And Cory ices up Archives, making those Archives run to make things cheaper, more taxing to perform. And it covers up HQ some more. He's probably still got those agendas in hand. Unless he dumped them into archives. He did jump a medical breakthrough, which is interesting. But I guess he doesn't mind if the runner steals that, because as long as it's in the runner's score area, the other medical breakthroughs are less expensive to score. So perhaps that was a strategic discard. Getting some money. Money coming out from John. Does he have anything to spend it on? He can trash Howard for a bunch of money. Actually, he might be able to get away with not trashing Howard if Cory wants to pop the Howard. Point is, you just want to get the Howard off the table, because giving more draw power to Industrial Genomics will hurt you later on, because they will just keep dumping stuff in archives, making things more expensive. Does John have any breakers? Is he going to put any pressure on HQ? That's where the agendas are. That's where he last saw them. Celebrity gift, definitely a double-edged sword. You get a lot of money from it, but you also kind of give away your game plan. Especially when you're holding agendas. That's got to be interesting. Cory has no fear. No fear showing all those agendas. Oh, I guess there's 4 cards in archives. 7 to trash Jackson. And Cory decides not to go for it. Just take some money. It's certainly taxing. And another celebrity gift. Yes, we have a Brain Trust, Daily Business Show, Biotic Labor, Celebrity Gift, and another Brain Trust. So that means the Future Perfect is in the trash. But some more, still some agendas in there. Brain Trust, good old 3 for 2 in Kentucky. And installs a new server. Probably the Daily Business Show is my guess. A card that's great for drawing exactly what you want to draw. And of course, it costs now 6 to trash, or 8 to trash, sorry. Quality time, more draw coming out for John. He's been drawing quite a bit and hasn't really done any installing. I'm wondering what his game plan is here. Chaos Theory with a 40-card deck is the kind of deck that usually gives you what you want pretty quick, because you can draw through it and or tutor for it. I haven't seen any tutors coming out for him, just lots of draw. He does have money. What will he spend it on? Cory pretty flush with cash too. A couple of celebrity gifts and you're good. And Dirty Laundry on that new remote. That is the Daily Business Show. And it's $1 billion to trash. Well, it's too much to trash. It might as well be $1 billion. But he gets some money for it. He's got money. Maybe not money for days. Maybe money for a day. Got to spend it. Money doesn't do any good if it just sits on your card. Where are those breakers? So lots of juicy agendas in HQ. Just got to go and take them. And the thing about not really putting pressure on the corp like this is that they can kind of just do whatever they want. If you, like, Cory is completely unafraid to hold agendas in hand. But we do have an Opus coming out. John going to get more money, which is exactly what we want against Industrial Genomics. And there's the Daily Business Show getting rezzed. He's going to be able to draw 2 cards and pick one, put one back on the bottom of the deck. Just like Mr. Lee, but for corpse. Jackson drawing. Probably going to dump even more stuff in archives to make things expensive. And that's how you play against Industrial Genomics, is that you just kind of have to build up, prepare yourself, make sure that you got a handful of things that can get trashed with shocks, then make a run on archives, and then trash all the stuff at its normal cost. Cory decides to make a couple new servers, one with an asset, one with a piece of ice on top. John's got that Opus, so he's got money, or the potential for money. Decides to draw for his first click. He doesn't look terribly happy with the state of his hand, though. I wonder what he is looking for. What is taking so much energy to find? Typically, if you're digging this much for something, then, well, you're probably going to want to, you know, maybe think about adding some tutors to your deck if you can to pull out that important thing earlier. Of course, if it's hardware that he's looking for, there's not a lot of tutors for that. There's a new card called Trade-In that is a hardware tutor, but it takes a lot of energy to do it. You have to have a hardware already installed, and then you get back half its value to search for that hardware. But I haven't really seen much indication of John's game plan other than drawing cards, maybe taking money and running things here and there. And more card draw with the Diesel. This deck's got to be getting pretty thin. Better check yourself before you deck yourself. A freelance coding contract. Oh, man. Okay. So he just got rid of 3 programs. Get $6 for it. All right. So some of you out there may know what deck this is now that John is running. If you are familiar with the game and are up on the decks that have come out over the past year or so. For those who don't know it yet, it's okay. If it comes up, I will point it out. If you're still trying to figure it out, I'll give you a hint. The ID is Chaos Theory, and it plays freelance coding contract. Celebrity gift again from Cory. More stuff. Ooh, a Sand City Grid. Another Jackson, a couple of Rain Trust, and a Biotic Labor. All of that fast advance. So the thing about doing fast advance with Industrial Genomics is that Sand is super expensive to trash, and even more expensive to trash with Industrial Genomics. So it's going to be pretty taxing if the runner wants to shut down that Sand. He's got those 2 Brain Trusts in hand, and he's got a bunch of money. So on his next turn, he's going to be able to res that Sand and just start scoring stuff out of hand. Now, the thing about John's deck is that he has not, like I said, he hasn't put any pressure on the Corp. And if he's playing the deck that I think he's playing, then that might be a bit of a mistake. You want to put something, just, you know, the breakers that you need until you can pull off what you're trying to pull off. There's like a corroder there sitting in the trash that he didn't install because he's looking for this particular combo piece. Up to 17 credits. He's got money. If money's what you got, then money's what you use. He draws. I think that's another freelance coding contract, maybe. But he just got rid of all his programs. Well, 3 programs at least. Drawing some more. This is a sure gamble, and he's got more money. And the good thing about that mental health clinic is that the hand size is increased by 1, so you can hold more cards after all that drawing. Daily Business Show, mandatory draw from Cory, and I am guessing we're going to see a score here from that Sand. Cory's got to organize all that dough. He's trading out his singles for a more efficient 5 credit token. And now, there we go. She spends the 6. He's going to res this Sand. There it is. Advancement requirement lowered by 1 for every agenda installed there, which means all he's got to do is install something on it and advance it twice and score it, which is what he does. There goes the Brain Trust. Installed, advanced twice, and he is on the board. 2 agenda points for Cory. And we saw that he had another one in hand, which means he's probably going to do exactly the same thing next turn. He's got a bunch of money, and he's getting +1 every turn. John draws. Checking his deck. Everything in archives. Or, excuse me, the heap. Whatever it's called, the discard. The graveyard. Ooh. Draw some more. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. See if it pays off. Somebody throw him a shovel. I mean, it's actually kind of remarkable. If there's, you know, presumably he's got, if this is an important combo piece, then he has a decent number of them in the deck, and he's just not pulling them. It's actually kind of impressive if all of them are at the bottom of the deck, which is just straight up unlucky for John. He decides to dirty laundry the Jackson. So here's what happens. If you pop Jackson in the middle of a run, then the run is not considered successful or unsuccessful, which means he doesn't get the $5 from a successful dirty laundry run. I don't think John realized that. And I think he's only interested in getting money, so he says, wait, no, I didn't want to do that, sorry. And Cory is nice enough and lets him take it back. He doesn't have to get rid of Jackson. I think that's a win-win for Cory. So he decides to dirty laundry the Daily Business Show, chooses not to trash it, because that would be like $14 million or something like that. He's got money, though. What will he use it on? He's got to do something. One of these days. Oh, he was still over his hand size, so he had to discard something. Daily Business Show for Cory for his mandatory draw. Getting some good resolution on those card draws. And here it goes again. Install Advance on the Sansan. 2 more points for Cory for that brain trust. And if he's got another 3 for 2, and this could be getting away from John pretty quickly. He's got to be putting that pressure on. He's got to put more pressure on. He can't be waiting this long just to draw that magical card. I don't even know what kind of card John could draw at this point. He just kind of has to, at some point you just have to abandon your game plan and do something. I'm actually kind of surprised there's still cards to draw. More draw. And John still needs to discard. Cory waiting patiently for John to finish the discard before he takes his turn. Now, what would be the worst thing in the world for John right now is a Chronos project. I cannot. If there's a Chronos project that came out of the blue right now, I would flip out. Because John has like 3/4 of his deck in the heap and like nothing installed. Oh, and there's a medical breakthrough. Another 3 for 2. Now the next medical breakthrough is only 2 advanced requirements. And Cory's at 6 points. The game is almost over. And nothing coming out for John. Poor John. Well, sometimes this is what happens. Well, maybe not this bad. Well, if you're new to the game, this take it as a learning opportunity. You got to put on some sort of pressure. He showed you all those agendas in hand, but you didn't go for them. You decided to go for your deck, which, you know, depending on the deck, may have been the right choice. It's hard to know ahead of time. Quality time. How many cards? He has 6 cards left in his deck. He draws 5 of them. Surely by now, you have something that you could use. Please. Maybe. Spending money. Oh, he's spending a lot of money. for a monolith. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. He has a monolith. He spent all of his dollars, almost, on this gigantic console. And when he installed it, he got to install 3 programs for 4 costs less each. So now he's got his breaker suite. Now that it's, well, the end of the game, almost. Well, now he can start running, I guess. He's got Magnum Opus. He can do some cool stuff. So the name of this deck that John is playing is an old school deck called Big Girls Play with Monoliths. The idea of the deck is to see how fast you can get out a monolith with your 3 programs. But part of that process is to still put on pressure on the corp where you need to. And it sounds like both. I think he has 2 monoliths in the deck, and they're both at the very bottom of the deck. He does run on R&D, hits a Himitsu Bako, and there's a Caprice. That's what that upgrade was that whole time. So he can break the Bako for 1, and then he'll play a side game. So he breaks it, then they're going to play a side game. What's it going to be? It's 1-0. Cory wins. No access. Alas. Well, he can put on pressure now, right? Well, so one of those breakers is a dagger, which works best if you have a stealth credit. I did see him drop a cloak from way back in the day. I think a cloak got sniped away by one of those snares. Or shocks, excuse me. Cory makes a new server. That is a new server. That's not an upgrade or anything. There we go. That fits. That works. I'll buy it. Draws for Jackson. Probably hunting for that last agenda. If he pulls a medical breakthrough, he could score it out of hand without even using the San on his next turn. But if the Jackson or the San stays, he could score a Brain Trust. And that is it for Cory for now. With all those cards in archives, I have a hard time seeing how John is going to pull away from this game. He could, okay, what he could do is go on archives. There's got to be some agendas in there. We know at least a Future Perfect is in there. Yeah, he's got two shocks in there. Probably 3 by now. Maybe even some Shikyus. It could be pretty bad. Oh, and there's a Levy AR lab access. He gets to, well, okay, I think he actually put the Levy in his deck when he just played it just now. You're supposed to remove Levy from the game. And then you shuffle your hand into your heap and put it all back onto your stack. You hand into the heap, shuffle the heap into the stack. That becomes your new stack, and you draw 5 cards. So nice little reset button on your deck because he was out of cards. And maybe his new hand will give him something he will enjoy, something he will be able to use that's good. At least he's got breakers and economy. They're all installed right there. That's all you need, right? Do you even need any cards anymore? Just clip for credits, run things. Of course, well, it's a little bit rough right now to do that. You know, this game takes a while to get used to. But it's a cloak. Now he'll be able to use that dagger, the cloak and dagger. But yep, Netrunner is a tough game. Kind of need to know what you're doing. It takes a while just to get a hang of the strategy and knowing when to put pressure where. And, you know, John's a new player, but that's okay. He's learning. I'm sure he will learn from this experience. John, if you are watching this video, I hope you learn from the video. Maybe it's giving you some ideas of better things to do. And Cory is still searching for that next agenda. He was not able to score out. Cory's getting pretty low there, too. Jackson is eating through his deck. But eventually he will come across that winning agenda. Maybe he has it now, and all he's got to do is discard and survive to the next turn. Now, John only has $1 right now. He can click up for 6 and run HQ if he thinks that that there's something in HQ. Oh, and Cory puts an upgrade onto Archives. Probably another Caprice. Holy cow. That is a lot of cards in Archives. It costs so much money to trash anything right now. And this is kind of... I'm feeling that this is probably John's last-ditch effort here. He's got to take the game away from Cory. I can't imagine that Cory has not drawn that agenda by now. John says he actually wants to run something. I think that's a good idea. Take some money. And he runs an HQ. I think that's the right decision. What's he going to hit? No res. No res. Oh. Maybe there's nothing in HQ. Maybe Cory has no fear. And it is something, Jackson, that John can't draw, or can't trash, because of the $17 quadrillion it costs. Cory taking that business show, mandatory draw. And there's a medical breakthrough for the win. He can score it out of hand, doesn't even need the Sand. Install, advance twice. And there it is. There is the game. Cory is our winner. And I do feel kind of bad for John. It sounded like, I mean, he may not have been playing the deck the most optimal way because he wasn't able to apply any pressure. But it also sounds like he kind of got screwed with his draws. He was not able to draw those monoliths. They were all at the bottom of the deck. Or something was at the bottom of the deck that he wasn't able to pull off that giant install combo. But, well, I will give him props for playing the deck. Because that is an old school deck. It looks like he was playing sort of his own version of it because the medium wasn't part of the original build. But anyway, that's going to be it for now. We are going to be moving on to Game 2 in a bit between Cory and John, and we will see you next time.